You can really get into the weeds, so to speak. No pun intended. That was a really corny joke. Get in the weeds. We don't want weeds. We're trying to grow some good veggies here, some good produce. Oh, I just threw mud in my shoe. Totally didn't wear the right clothes for this. All right, so this tool here, man, these are sharp. Wearing shorts out here was not a smart idea. Oh goodness. So, so this here is a coring tool, or a corer, a soil sampler. So what we're working on today here on the farmstead is actually pulling various samples in some places where the orchard's going to be, kind of like a Zen garden. We're going to pull some soil samples from areas where the rows are going to be. This is a very, very critical step, at least in my opinion, that a lot of people skip when they're doing gardening, and it's one of the most critical things to do. Most people realize that you need to alter nutrients and add nutrients throughout the year, so it seems logical that you would need to find out exactly where your starting point is, right? If you don't know your starting point, then how do you know what you need to add and change to get something where it needs to be? Yeah. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is just pull back the surface layer of whatever debris is there. Find a good spot here. I'm gonna take this coring tool and push it down in the ground. This is what I'll scrape out, and that'll be my sample. I'm gonna label this Zone 1. This particular brand that I got off of Amazon is extremely sharp, but it's also very heavy duty. A lot of people don't like the fact that it's sharp. I've bought some cheap ones online before, and they were just rinky-dinky, super thin metal. This is heavy duty. I'm just gonna use a piece of wood here, scrape some of this out instead of running my fingers in there so that I don't draw some blood. Probably could have brought a screwdriver with me. There we go. I just threw mud in my shoe. Totally didn't wear the right clothes for this. All right. Now, as I drop them, now that I've got all of my samples, I'm gonna try to get this dirt cleaned out of there. One flaw of this particular design, there's no way to clean out whatever's in here. Usually you'd have a hole on the back end to be able to push that plug through. Everything else was well built. They didn't think that part through. Now that I've got these samples, air them out, let them get nice and dry. Then I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna take this to our county ag office. University of Arkansas does the sample testing. Get back these samples and then know exactly what is in this soil, so that when I make the rows next week, I can work with our local nursery who has amendments that I need, like compost, have everything brought in and mix it into the soil as needed so that we can make sure that everything is just right. I do choose to work with agronomists. I try not to just wing things. You know, when you're doing stuff as a market garden, it's science. You need to make sure that everything is dialed in. A lot of times, you know, people end up with issues with plants and they don't realize that it's typically from their base starting point. Sometimes nutrient deficiencies can mimic other diseases. Sometimes a disease or a nutrient deficiency could be something that you visually see, but what actually happen is there can actually be too much of a particular nutrient in the soil. So it's important to know that you don't have too much also, because that can prevent the uptake of those nutrients. So there is a lot to it. You can really get into the weeds, so to speak. No pun intended. That was a really corny joke. Get in the weeds. We don't want weeds. We're trying to grow some good veggies here, some good produce. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna get these done. All right, so here are the samples, and I've let these sit out for a few days or so, just sitting in my garage. They still have a little moisture. You can see there's condensation kind of built up, but you can see now that this is turned into a nice dried substance. Now to drive these to my county ag office so they can get these sent off for testing. And then I'll get those tests and we'll update you guys to see what these results are, and maybe we'll learn something how to read those together. So make sure you guys check out the next video. Appreciate you guys being here and getting a little dirty with me. We'll see you later.